Allied Dunbar. Allied Dunbar was a large British life assurance group. In its early years, it was known as Hambro Life Assurance and was listed on the London Stock Exchange and was once a constituent of the FTSE 100 index. However, it was acquired by BAT Industries, merged with Eagle Star, and sold to Zurich Financial Services in 1998. History. The company was founded by Sir Mark Wainberg, Lord Joffe and Sir Sidney Lipworth after Abbey Life was taken over with seed finance from Hambro's Bank and set up its headquarters in Swindon Town Centre in 1970 under the name Hambro Life Assurance. It was first listed on the London Stock Exchange in 1975. The company expanded its financial advisor operations during the late 70s and early 80s, acquiring the Allied unit trusts of which it was soon the major unit holder, to become Allied Hambro in 1984. The company became Allied Dunbar in 1985 after it purchased Dunbar & Company, a small private bank, following the acquisition by BAT Industries. The asset management department was hived off to form Threadneedle Investments, and it was bought out by Zurich Financial Services in 1998. Its direct sales force became the Zurich Advice Network ZAN in 2001. In 2005, and following changes in industry regulation, ZAN evolved into a standalone entity known as OpenWork, a directly authorized multi-tiered financial distribution network. Allied Dunbar operated a large conference centre as King Edward's Place in Foxhill, near Swindon, which was sold to be a hotel following the closure of the direct business model. Allied Dunbar's business, like its predecessor Abbey Life's, was unit-linked. The direct investment risk and reward due to market changes was very largely exclusive to the individual investors, rather than the company, its shareholders or other plan holders. Despite its initial form as an assurance company, Allied Dunbar was always essentially a retail investment group. Its initial sales proposition was to offer unit-linked bonds, which could be sold door to door unlike unit trusts at the time, and including property investment, when property unit trusts were not then authorized. Although nominally single premium life policies, these offered only nominal life cover and incidentally neatly avoided the liability to ad valorem stamp duty on life policies. Equity exposure was obtained by investing via a range of feeder funds into Allied unit trusts, whose manager was owned by Hambros, and property via Berkeley Hambro. As far as possible, Allied Dunbar avoided all direct financial exposure to policyholder funds and liabilities. The company took the minimum responsibility for its sales force, even after tied agents were regulated under the Financial Services Act 1986, and the hard sell tactics of some of its self-employed sales associates soon gave it the sobriquet of Allied Crowbar. The company's financial responsibility for the sales force, in the form of indemnity commission paid in advance to profits accruing from premium payments, was largely passed back to its self-employed sales managers. Most mortality risk was reassured, and every other kind of risk was ruthlessly designed out or managed out as far as practicable. The company was thus highly successful in comparison with traditional life offices. To take advantage of regulatory, tax and trust law, the group was successively expanded to provide pensions, investment bonds, unit trusts, banking services, and offshore policies. Endowment complaints. Over the period May 2001 to April 2003, a portion of the nearly 300,000 Allied Dunbar customers who had been sold endowment mortgages made complaints. These complaints were prompted by a fall in the market, which meant that nearly 9 in 10 of their accounts were likely to suffer maturity value and mortgage repayment shortfalls, as well as new regulations which required that customers pay, with particular regard to such shortfalls. Around 1,000 such complaints were rejected during the above period. The Financial Services Authority investigated the rejected complaints, as well as Allied Dunbar's internal procedures for handling such customer complaints, and while maintaining a majority of them, it fined the company £725,000 on 11 March 2004 for mishandling such complaints. In its decision, the Financial Services Authority noted that the complaint handlers had conducted poor quality investigations, and there was a failure to gather sufficient evidence to make a fair assessment of both the consumer's attitude to the risk and the suitability of the sale. Allied Dunbar stopped writing endowment mortgages in November 2001. It was not the only company fined by the FSA, and at the time this was only the fifth largest fine for offences related to endowment complaint mismanagement. Friends Provident had been fined £625,000 in November 2003, and 5 other firms had previously been fined a total of £5.2 million for their mismanagement of such complaints. The largest fine fell to Royal Scottish Assurance, which incurred a £2 penalty.